Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Dearani, and today we are going to use a nonfiction book to create some curious questions. So, nonfiction books make us curious. We want to find out more information. So, today we're going to write a question in each box about something you want to know more about from the book that you choose to read. I'm going to use this nonfiction text here entitled M&Ms. So now, as you can see, mine is not a whole full book, but if you're using a book, the first thing that I want you to do is take a picture walk because I want you to think of what questions come to mind as you're taking a picture walk through your book. So I'm going to scroll down and just take a peek. Let's see, making M&Ms, how they're made, how they got started. Okay. Now, if your book has pictures, look at the pictures. That might also bring up some questions in your mind that you might have. Okay, let's see. I see a timeline, right? That's a nice nonfiction text feature. Starting back from the 1950s all the way to 1990. Great. Okay, so I took my picture walk and I'm going to read this to you. And I'm going to create some curious questions. So before I read, here's what I'm wondering. I want to know who invented M&Ms. I'm also wondering, I love to eat M&Ms, so I'm wondering, what are M&Ms made of? A when question. Ooh, well, you know what? There was a timeline that we saw, right? So I'm thinking, when were they invented? Now I have a where. Maybe I'm wondering, where were they first made? So many things that I'm wondering about M&Ms. Why are they different colors? Okay, I need one more question. I need a how. You know what? It would be fun to learn, how are they made? Make sure you're starting with a capital letter and you're putting a question mark at the end of each question, right? Because these are questions. So now I've completed my curious questions and now I can enjoy my nonfiction book. Let's see if we answer any of these. M&Ms by Karen Smith and Carrie Moore. M&Ms are fun to eat and taste good, but it may be interesting to learn more about this famous candy. Making M&Ms. First of all, let's learn how M&Ms are made. Ooh, I think that was one of our questions, right? That we were wondering, how are M&Ms made? Let's see. Chocolate is heated and poured into little round molds. After they cool, the little round chocolates are put into a machine that goes around and around and tumbles them like like clothes tumble in a dryer. This way, the chocolate hardens and it's ready for the next step. While they are tumbling, a sugar coating is added to that, coats the little round chocolates. When the tumbler stops, the sugar coating cools. After cooling, the tumbler begins again and more sugar coating is added, and the little round chocolates are cooled again. This happens lots of times. During the last coating, different colors are added. When the colored sugar coating has cooled, the candy is put onto a large moving belt called a conveyor belt and dropped into large containers called bins. Finally, the different colors are poured into brown paper sacks and sealed. After the paper sacks are sealed, they are taken to stores for you to buy. How M&Ms are made is only part of their story. Now let's take a trip back in time and find out how M&Ms got started. Wow, so I didn't realize there were so many steps into how M&Ms are made. So that answered some of our questions, right? What are they made of? So there's a lot of sugar coatings in there. Must be why they taste so good, right? So a couple of our questions were already answered. How M&Ms got started. Oh, let's see. When were they invented? M&Ms got their start almost 70 years ago. Two men, Forrest Mars and Bruce Murray, started the company. The letters from their last name, M&M. I didn't know that. That would be another good question too. How did M&Ms get their name, right? Oh, M&Ms were used to name the candy. When the company started in 1941, M&Ms were sold only to the army for the men who were fighting in World War II. When the war was over in 1945, M&Ms were sold to everyone. The M&M saying or slogan is M&Ms, melt in your mouth, not in your hand, right? Have you heard that slogan before? Lots of fun facts here that we're learning. Okay, so here's our M&M timeline. Here's our text feature. Now let's take a look at a timeline to get more of the M&M story. A timeline is like taking a trip down a road. At each stop, we will learn something about M&Ms. 1950, a black M was put on each candy. 1954, the black M was changed to white. 1982, M&Ms went into space with astronauts. Ooh, interesting. 1990, peanut butter M&Ms were made. 1995, blue was added to the colors. I think I remember that. 1997, the green M&Ms lady was introduced, right? Think of like, I don't know if you've ever seen any commercials, right? I feel like I've seen her in commercials before. 2002, purple was voted as the new color. Interesting. Learning about M&Ms is fun, but not as much fun as eating them. Okay, so I learned a lot of fun facts for sure about M&Ms. So now if we think about who invented them, well, we learned that one, right? So now we know, if we take a look back, what were their names? Forrest Mars and Bruce Murray. They used the letters of their last name, M&M. Very cool. So that's who invented them. What are they made of? We learned all about the sugar coatings, right? When were they invented? Well, we saw that the timeline started in 1950. Where were they first made? Well, there's a curious question. Sometimes, boys and girls, all of our questions may not get answered. We might have to do some more research. We might have to ponder that a little bit more. Why are there different colors, right? Well, we saw on the timeline that they continued to add more and more new colors. And we definitely learned all the steps into how they're made. So a lot of our curious questions that we were wondering when we first opened our book, did a picture walk, we answered many of them, boys and girls. So that's what I want you to try to do today. Pick out a book or you could always use Raz Kids. You could use the computer. Okay, look at the cover. Do a picture walk. Ask yourself some curious questions. Fill out the chart. Then go ahead and read your book and see how many of those questions you answer after reading. Have fun, boys and girls.